Welcome. Before we dive into the business end proper, I would like to give you a broad overview of what e-commerce is all about. You want to learn about e-commerce, right? What is this e-commerce? Here I said e-commerce, also called mean importation, is the business of buying products usually from overseas at a relatively cheap price and selling them at a higher price, usually using social media platforms as your major advertising channels. By social media platforms, I mean platforms like Facebook or Instagram. In layman's terms, your e-commerce is basically buying low, selling high. But it's called e-commerce for a reason. Because although it operates like a brick and mortar business, in this particular instance, you don't necessarily need to own a physical shop to sell your products. Why? Your shop is online. Your shop is online with the aid of what we call a website. So that's e-commerce. You want to get things from outside the country at a cheap price and sell them at a much higher price to make profit for yourself. Now, e-commerce is not strictly limited to buying things outside the country. You can also buy things within your country as long as you are buying them at a cheap price to sell them at a much higher price. Now, in that case, where you're buying things within the shores of your country or your local habitat, is something we call local arbitrage, but they all involve buying and selling. Now, here's a diagram that gives a visual representation of what e-commerce is all about. You, as the merchant, you have a product or service to render. Then there's a customer over the other side of the internet who has money to pay for the product you are selling. So simply, e-commerce is just an exchange of value for money. You are rendering a service or a product, someone is buying it from you. And both of you don't have to see each other. All the transactions are majorly done over the internet. That's why it's called e-commerce. They see your ads that you run, they click on them, they like what they see, they order for the product, you reach out to them, you deliver the product to them, and they pay you money. You never get to meet each other most times. So that's, in a nutshell, what e-commerce is all about. But why should you consider starting e-commerce as a business? There are so many online businesses out there. Why should e-commerce be one of those businesses you would consider to start, especially as someone who is new to the world of internet businesses? So why e-commerce? There are several reasons why e-commerce is advantageous to you. The first one is that usually it requires little amount of money to start. Now, little amount of money is relative. 50,000 can be little for someone, 100,000 can be little for someone. Taking myself as an example, when I started my e-commerce business about 4 years ago, I started with 50,000 naira. But that might not be the case in this current day and time. It still doesn't mean that you can't start with that amount, but you'll be faced with lots of challenges that amount of money might not be able to solve for you. But compared to so many other businesses out there, what you need to start an e-commerce business is relatively little because you don't have to start like a big merchant. The second reason is that you don't need to be a guru or have any tech skills to start making money quickly. With e-commerce, you need to understand the basics first of all. You don't need to have mastered it before you start making small amounts of money. You have a product to sell. You know where to advertise the product. Customers see that product and want to buy from you. You give them the product, they give you money. That's it. Yes, the better you become in this business, the more money you are likely to make. But the fact that you've not gotten to that guru stage does not mean you won't make money at all. Number three, unlike brick and mortar businesses, like I said earlier, you don't need a physical store to start. Now, with a physical store, you have to pay for rent. In this case, you don't need a physical store, you just need a website. Sometimes people who run e-commerce business don't even have a website. Like I stated in number 4, you don't necessarily need to own a website, but for me, the website is compulsory. However, when I started my own business, I did not have a website. I didn't know how to create a website. So I sent people who were checking out my products to WhatsApp. They sent me messages on WhatsApp we concluded our deals, I deliver the products to them. Sometimes they send me a message on Facebook Messenger. That's how it works. So you don't necessarily need to own a website to start, but for better results, for optimization purposes, to maximize your profits, a website is very good to have. Number 5, you can easily show your product to thousands of people daily and get them to patronize you. In a physical shop, how many people do you think can see your products daily? The maximum number of people that can see your product, even if you're in a very busy area. It is highly unlikely that up to 1,000 people will come to your shop, except you're a very big shop. But with e-commerce and having an online store, it is possible to show your products to thousands of people daily, depending on how much you want to spend to advertise your product using these platforms. So you can show your products to 10,000 people, 5,000 people daily. And the thing with business is this: the more eyes that see your business, the more likely you are to make a sale. So you can't compare when 10 people see your product to when 1,000 people see that same product. The person who has 10,000 people seeing their products has a higher chance to sell more products than someone who has less than 10 people seeing their product, same product. So with e-commerce, it's easy for you to show your product to thousands of people daily, depending on your ad budget. And also, it has the potential of generating you anywhere between 50 to 100% profit on your capital. In a subsequent video, you will see how this is done. I broke this down, how you can make between 50% to 100% profit on your capital. Let me blow your mind. There are some people who make even up to 200% profit on their capital. It's crazy, but I don't want to take your mind to that direction. Just know that it's possible to make anywhere between 50 to 100% profit on your capital. If you think that is too small, ask yourself, how many businesses would you do that will give you 50% profit every month? I'm not talking about Ponzi schemes here. I'm talking about legitimate businesses that people run that you see. Not businesses that you are told to put money here and leave it for a certain amount of time and you get a certain profit in return. Not those ones are not those ones are Ponzi schemes. For a legitimately run business, it is not so easy to make up to 50% profit monthly. But with your e-commerce business, you can make up to that in a month. And because you can make between 50% to 100% profit every month, your business is easy to scale and your business is predictable. What that means is that if you know that for every 100,000 naira you put, you will get 150,000 naira back. It means you have 50,000 naira profit. Then it should not be difficult for you to buy more products in order to increase your profit margin. So it's easy to scale. You know, okay, if I sell, for example, 100 products at 5,000 naira profit, I will make 500,000. What that means that next month, if I'm to sell 150 products at still the same 5,000 naira profit, I will make 750,000 naira. So it is predictable, it is scalable once you know what you are doing in this business. So these are the reasons why you should consider taking this your e-commerce business seriously. In the next video, I'll be talking to you about the 4 factors that will determine how successful you will be in your e-commerce business. See you in the next video.